If you want to get started with analog photography, one of the options that you have is grabbing a point and shoot and see whether you actually like film photography. And today I'm going to be talking about one of those point and shoot cameras, which is the Pentax Pino 35M. This camera is one in the series of cameras, point and shoot cameras that Pentax released sometime in the mid-80s. I believe, from what I gather at least, this is one of the cheaper and simpler models, which is actually one of the things that I like about this camera. When it comes to settings, there's really not much of them. You can set your ISO here, 100 and 200 is the same setting, then there's the option for 400 and 1000, and that's about it. You load the film, turn the camera on here, you open the lens, then you turn on the flash on if you want to. Once the orange light is on, like so, you can take a flash picture. Once you're done shooting, you rewind the film here, which I'm not gonna do now because I'm halfway through with the roll. And I believe that's about it when it comes to the camera operation. So as I said before, the thing that I like about this camera is the simplicity. It really embodies the philosophy of a point and shoot. Just point your camera, click the shutter, and there you have it, you took a picture. Provided that it works, because I'm not sure, or I think this is a specific problem of the model that I have, but I have a real issue with the consistency of this camera. A lot of the times when I press the shutter, it doesn't fire, or it fires but it doesn't load the film, and I'm not really sure whether this is a battery thing, because this happens even with the new batteries when I put them in. But I found a little trick that when I press it here, it tends to advance the film, which means there's probably something wrong with the enclosure. It's not tight enough here. Perhaps it's even something with the batteries, because in the camera manual it says you should take out the batteries when you're not using the camera for a long time. But as I said, even when I put a new pack of batteries inside, which are, by the way, are 2 AA batteries, it doesn't always work or advance the film. One thing I noticed as well is that if I leave the camera open or turned on for a while, it tends to become more consistent with advancing the film. So just a few points from my experience, but as I said, this might be just the issue with my model, and that's about the only complaint I have about the camera. The camera sports a 35mm f3.8 lens, which is not super bright, but I think it's enough for a point and shoot, and you always have the option to turn the flash on. So far I've used the camera for mostly collecting moments with my friends, or perhaps some street photography, but bear in mind that you have to be 1.2 meters away from your subject, or 4 feet. Otherwise your subjects will be blurry. And with that being said, let's take a look at some of the pictures that I took with the camera so far. Now, to conclude this camera review, who is this camera for nowadays? As I said in the beginning, if you are looking to get into analog photography and you don't want to spend too much money, I think this is a good camera to start with, as it doesn't cost much. I think I saw one for $15 online, and it basically takes care of everything for you. You don't have to worry about the exposure and such. It's more or less like a disposable camera, but you can use it over and over. So you can try film photography with this one and then see whether you actually like the images and the process, and then you can invest in something more expensive and something with manual functions, so you can learn more about taking pictures and have more control over your exposure and images. And I would say that concludes this review. Let me know what you think about the camera, and I'll see you on the next one.